Hello and welcome to taik18. I'm Mohammed Adnan, and in this video, we are going to discuss about what's new in Power BI since along last 6 months. And not only that, we're also going to cover how we can realize the new functionalities of Power BI, the new features of Power BI. If you're new to this channel or if you haven't subscribed yet, just click on the subscribe button and also press the bell icon to get the latest notifications. I've seen on my YouTube analytics that almost 90% of my viewers are not my subscribers. I wish because you all to subscribe to my channel, this helps me to boost my channel and reach to larger audience in YouTube community. Thank you for doing that. Please click on the subscribe button. And I'm not only going to cover only the features which is released in the last 6 months kind of thing, but I will also go through again step-by-step process because if you are starting up your journey in Power BI in 2024, then this will be helpful for you to look into these features. And also you can learn Power BI from the start. So without wasting further time, let me share my screen. So click here, share my screen. Okay, so right now we are into December 2023. So first of all, just make sure that you have a Power BI desktop installed on your laptop, and go to open a Power BI file and then click on help and then click on about. Then this will give you the version which you have. Here it is December 2023, which is showing up here. So you also make sure about that. And also you need to do one more thing, which is go to file and then options and setting at the bottom and then options here. So once you click on that, this will open up a new window, and here you need to select your global options. And here you can see we have a global as well as the current file. So here you need to select global and then click on preview features and make sure you tick out all this, check in all these options here, because even though these are all preview features, some of them maybe it can go away from this list, but majority of them it will stay here. It will be converted into a general availability where we will see these preview features with more additional functionalities in future, and it will be added into Power BI desktop as a default thing. So here the recently added one is improved Q&A with Copilot and summary with Copilot visuals, and then DAX query view, and then model explorer and calculation group authoring, and button slices, new card visuals, Power BI project. I made a separate video series on this one. You can just go and watch that video. And these are all the old options which we have. So if you want to, even though these are all from the last 6 months to 1 year, but still it is in preview because they are waiting, collecting feedback from the users, from the community. So we are also going to cover most of the features here at the bottom. So so you just need to make sure that you click here and then click on OK. So if it is not ticked, then you need to click on OK, and then you need to restart your Power BI application. Generally, it will be applied all those features. And once you apply here, you will see a new icons here, which is lightning symbol on the card, which is a new card, and also the new slicer. So we are going to cover both of them in today's session. All right. So the next thing here is this is the canvas, what you can see it on the Power BI. And on the left menu, you see it here, which is the report view, where you will get this option in the canvas and you need to design your visuals, everything here. And the next step, what we have it here as the table view, where we can see all the table informations here. And you can also filter it out, and that will be temporary on that particular screen. It is not going to have any impact on your real data. Even though if you are getting a data in Power BI and importing the data into Power BI desktop, then it is not going to affect any data on the source location. You just need to feel free to make any kind of changes here in Power BI desktop. It is only be applicable only to Power BI desktop. It will not have any impact on the source data. And here we have a model view where we can see the relationship between the tables and other functionalities of our data model. And then now this is also the new one, which is the DAX query view, where we can easily generate our DAX queries. And then we can also learn about how their calculation works behind the scene and how it automatically generates the query for us. So this helps actually to test out our DAX functionality, and as well as we can learn DAX from this one. I will also show you in this example. So if you look into this one, and on the top we have the ribbon view, where we can have home, insert, modeling, view, optimize, and we are going to use some of the features here. Here, majority of them are not modified. You can also refer to my one long video, which is available here of almost 3 hours of video. You can just make sure that you can use this video to understand how these things works in Power BI. So I will quickly go through this step, which is where we can get the data. So we can get the data in 2 ways, where we can click on home here, and then we have option here to get data. And we have multiple sources we can connect, 100+ of sources are there. But today we are going to cover the Excel file and CSV file. to get our data here. We can also connect to SQL server. We can also connect to our existing Power BI data lake or data mart or the semantic models here. And the next thing what we can do here is basically this is Power BI desktop, and Power BI desktop comes with two things. One is Power BI desktop as well as Power Query editor. That is a really powerful tool, and it is really useful in many ways. You can use in data factory, and you can use it on Power BI service, Power Apps, and also on data flows as well. So that Power Query has lots of functionality. I also have a separate videos and course on that Power Query. Please go and check out that video as well. I will add those links, everything on the description of this video. So here you can just go to here, transform data, and then click on transform data. This will open up a new window for you where you can see those information here. Yeah, you can see this is the new window, and on the top you can see this is Power Query editor, untitled here. So first of all, before going into this one, let me close this and save this file. Yeah, because I don't want to lose any data. So it is asking us to save the location here. So I will just give it name here, training YouTube 2024 _1. All right, and this is the location, and click on save. So at the bottom you had an option there where you can also select on that and then change the location for you. So again, click here, transform data, then it will open up a new window for Power Query editor. And here you have option new source, and then you can select from your source here. But before going into these options, let's have a look into the data here. If I click on data here, where I can see these information, where I have international sales, theme, and US sales here, and also there's some background images for us. So the US sales actually contains the sales of the US, and the dimension is also contains the dimension information. And if I open up the sales is actually a big one. So I will open up the international sales, where it contains each country. I have a separate CSV file here. So that one is an Excel file, and this one is a CSV file, and both of them will contain the same information here. So it is opening the Excel file. Okay, while this is opening, we can already get the data in our Power BI desktop. So if I go to Power Query editor, click here new source, and then click on Excel file. The reason is because this data country by country is actually the CSV file, and the one which we have US sales is actually XLS file. So you can see the extension is here is an XLX file. And if I open up this Excel file where I have these dimensions, it contains product dimension, manufacturer dimension, and geography dimension. So we can make use of these Excel files. Okay, and then the CSV file, where you can see here we have option of product ID and the date of the transactions, and then the zip code and units and the revenue and the country of that. So these are the information what we have. So let me close these files, Excel file, and then we will import these data into our Power BI. So first of all, we will import the data of the sales and dimension, which is coming from Excel file. So we need to click here new source and then Excel workbook, or also we can just click here more, and then we need to click search for Excel on the top. It is going to show here. So click Excel and then click on continue. So now we need to select our Excel file. We need to select here, which is showing up here. This is the dimension, and open. And if you look back here, yeah, this dimension is only Excel file, but the CSV is for the sales. Okay. And here you can see it is trying to establish a connection for the dimensions, and then this will give you the list of available sheet what you have inside to that Excel file. Okay, so here you can see I have the product table, geo, manufacturer, and product. Now you see this is a different icon. So the product table actually refers to a table here, and the product here is refers to the sheets here. If I click on the product here, this is going to give you a demo, preview of the Excel sheet, where you can see the product details is actually not as per our expectation. And if I click here on the product table, and the headers, it will be perfectly aligned together. So this is basically a table created in the Excel sheet itself. So that's why it is showing up here. But whereas it is not available for geography and manufacturer, so we need to make some transformations to do the job. So I will select here product table and manufacturer and geo directly from here, because I don't have any other options to do that. But we can make the changes as per our need. We can convert everything in Power Query here. So selecting these three things and then click on OK. First of all, we will get the data of every source as the first step, and then we'll start the transformation, and then we'll go for the visualization and DAX query and data modeling. So this will take a little bit time based on your data what you have. So we have imported this Excel file and click on again new source, and for the CSV we can select this option, text or CSV option. Select this one, and here I'm ready to select the sales. Click on open. So this is an Excel file. So now we have option here, which is product ID, date, zip, unit, and revenue. And here data type detection. That is basically the first 200 rows. This Power BI, what we'll do here is it will just analyze the first 200 rows of this sheet, and then this will detect the data type of this column. This looks like ID, and this is a date. This also looks like number, and this is the number, and this is also decimal kind of thing. That is how it will look like. But based on my experience, it is better to select here the entire data set, or you can do it manually after selecting do not detect data types here. But as this volume is too high, so I'd like to select here based on 200 rows. If something goes wrong, then I will select change. If something goes wrong, then I will select here manually in Power Query. So click on OK here. Then this will add the data here. Yeah. So you see at the end here, I mean, in the right side, it is showing up each and every step which it is converted. The source is the source, and then it will promoted one header here. If I click on the source, then you see the headers is not on the first column of the header. It is actually on the first row. So we have used the option here, promoted headers. So it has taken up the first row as a header on this one. So that's why we have added here. And then it has automatically applied the data type of each and every column. So previously, if you click here, now it is showing up here as ABC for every column, and it has detected the first 200 rows, and it has now mentioned as this is the ID, this is the date, this is also ID, and this is the number, this is also number, and this is the decimal number. All right. So similarly, we need to import all the other CSV files. But what if if we go through this text or CSV, then it will be a long process for us, because right now we have only 5 other countries. But if you see it here, on this Excel file, international sales. Right now we have just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 countries. But what if we have 100 plus countries? So it is not easy for us to do one by one this template, one by one CSV file to import. Instead of that, we have another way. So click on new source and then more. So here you need to type folder, because we want to import the folder, everything, whatever comes up here. So this is a folder, and then click on connect. So once you do so, this will open up a new window, and then we need to pass the path here, which I'd like to copy this and then paste here. So this will import that Excel file, and it is showing up here everything. And this is not going to import the file like how we see it here. This is going to do some job, and then we also need to filter something. So here we have option, it is showing up all the available files inside to this one, and also if there is multiple folders inside to this, it will also show you those information here. And it is asking here to combine and transform, or just to transform data. So here I want to show you something. So that's why I'd like to click here, transform data. If combine and transform means this will automatically extract each and every information and show it to in a proper data extracted manner. But right now, just click on transform data. The reason for this is I will tell you now. Here you see we have a CSV. What if we have a multiple files, like image is also available inside to this one, and also Excel file is also available to this one with a different column data type. So in that case, we need to filter it out here, and this is a CSV file kind of thing. And then if you want to filter it by date kind of thing, you can also do that from here. So right now we have added everything here. So I just need the name of the each and every country. So if I click on Australia, for example, and if I click on the binary here, this is showing up here like this. And if I click on record, then it is giving me every information on that file. So if I look into the CSV file, for example, if I open up this notepad, open up the CSV into a notepad, and we see this information, product ID, date, zip, unit, revenue, and then country also we are getting the information here. So in that case, we don't need to worry about the country column. So what we can do, we can just click on this one, which is combine files. Then this is going to extract each and every cell, each and every row here, and expand each and every file into this table. So get data experience is finished now, and now we are in the process of extracting the information. Now you see this is actually showing up the same information what we did for the sales table. This is file origin, delimiter, and this is basically the data type detection. So delimiter here it has automatically taken up, which is a comma. It can be different one, colon, semicolon, or equal sign kind of thing. But here we have a comma, so it is taking up comma here. And the sample file it has referred to as the first file, which is basically the Australia icon. If you want to save, select something else, you can select it from here. But here in this case, let it be fine for the first file. So if there is any skip with file with error, so I don't want to do that. So click on OK now. So this is going to extract each and every file row by row and then give us the detailed information inside to that. That's pretty cool, right? So the benefit of this one is actually, even if it comes up multiple countries in future, then we don't need to do anything. We just need to refresh the data. It will pick up entire thing inside to that. So no need to worry about that. So we don't need the source name again, so that we can just right click here and delete, remove basically. So now we have product ID and then date, zip, unit, revenue, and country. And also if you notice on the left side first, it has automatically generated these things, transform file, international sales, and these are the helper queries which has taken, which is the parameter as a sample file and also the transform file and the transformation job here. So everything it has added here, and you can see it on the right side, it has taken here as a filtered hidden files and then invoke custom functions. These are all the stuff which it has taken automatically about extracting this information. So right now, if we compare these two things, which is international sales and sales, you can see product ID, date, zip, unit, revenue. We don't have a USA column here because it is US sales. So we don't have a column here as a US sales. So for this, we can add a column, which is on the top here. We have add column and then we have option multiple things. We just need to add here a custom column. So, and we need to refer here as USA. And this will open up a new window here where we need to define here the column name, which is the country. And here as it is a static value, so we just need to pass here as a USA. If you want to make any kind of calculations, then what you can do, you can just, for example, double click here, date is multiplied by zip. I'm just guessing here. You can also make this kind of formula here. The column name is actually on the square brackets. So here in this case, we just need a static one. So let me delete this here and then paste here as USA. All right, and click on OK. So this is going to add a new column beside to this one. And then you need to define the column data type here. And then click here. This is a text one. That's it. So we have everything matched together, the sales and international sales here. All right. And now what we need to do here, we don't need this to be in a two different table. We just need to combine both of them. For this, first of all, we need to do here, right click on this one and then enable load here. So we have include in report refresh and enable load, two things. So include in report refresh is basically, if you want to refresh the data here, then we can use this option. If you don't want to refresh the data, then you can just uncheck these options. Like for example, if you are creating a table where it contains only the month information, like January, February, March kind of thing, that is going to be internationally studied. It's not going to change on every refresh. So you can just add table one time and then you can just take out this option. It will not load this one. So this is the useful for this, including report refresh. And enable load is basically, so now right now we are just working everything on Power Query and we are using this kind of transformation inside Power Query. So far it is not loaded these tables into Power BI desktop. So in that case, if you want to load the tables in Power BI desktop, then we can use that. If you don't, then you can just take out this option to be enable load. Here for me, I don't need these two tables for now. I just need append of these two tables to load into Power BI desktop. So I just right click both of them and then take out this enable load option. Now what we can do, just select these two tables, or they can select also one table, for example, sales, that is a big table. And here on the top, you have a home button in the ribbon. And on the right side, you see we have append queries. So if you click here, append queries, we have option append queries, append queries as new. If you select the first one, this is going to add to the existing table itself. If you select as a new, then this will create a new table for us. So what are the two tables you want to append? This will open up a new window. Here we can add two, or we can also add more than three or more tables here. The first table is sales and second table is international sales. So by doing that, this is going to match each and every column of these two tables, and then this is going to apply for us and a new table which is append one and showing up here. You can see this is showing up a country column, everything is matched together. And if I click here, load more, then this will not only show me the USA, this will also show me other countries data as well. So the sales itself is too big here. This is taking a bit to load. Yeah, that's really big file. But if you look into the file size, I think the sales is really big one. Yeah, it is 141 MB. That's really big. But this is quick fast actually. Power Query is really fast. So this is loading the files. And how about the other country files? These are all also a little bit big here. 125 MB overall. Yeah, right now Germany, Japan. So still we have Mexico and Nigeria. Yeah, you can see now it is showing up every country here. So now we can just go here and then give it a different name. So we can just click here, double click, and then we can rename it here to be USA sales. And this one has to be just sales. So click on this one. And on the right side also we have option to rename this. So just rename it here to be sales. All right. So we'll just keep it in a proper manner. So right click here and move to a group and new group. This has to be in model. Okay, so other things we don't need. Now we need to work on other table, which is a product table. So if you click here on the product table, here you can see product ID, product category, manufacturer, and price. For the price, you can see it is actually showing up in mixing here, USD, and then the price. We just need to split this column, the text separate and the value separate. To do this, we can just right click this column, and then we have a split column by delimiter, number of data, other thing. Here we need to use a delimiter. And Power Query is smart enough to detect what is the delimiter here. You see, it has taken as a space as a delimiter. And how do you want to split? You want to split the leftmost or every occurrence. So if you have a multiple space on different things, then you can also use this option. But here in this case, I just need to be any of them I can use here. Both of them is going to work on the same manner. So here, if I click on advanced option, how you want to split? You want to split by rows or by column? Actually, I need it by column. So number of column, I just need to be 2 here and then click on OK. So this will expand. I mean, this is going to split this into 2 different columns, and then this will apply the data type of that column here. So it is taken as ABC, and now this is taken as, what is that? This is the decimal number. So split by column by delimiter and then the change type here. So now the next thing here is basically we can rename this here on the top. If I rename it here, then this is going to add a new step here. For example, if I double click here and then change the name to be currency, and you see it has added a new column, a new step, which is renamed the columns here. So you can delete this step here and it will switch it back to the previous one. You can directly change this name here itself, .1 red. We'll just change it here, currency, and this has to be price. So right now this is showing up an error because the reason is the next step what we have taken here is actually the price, and then the split one, it is showing as price 1 and price 2 itself. So we also need to change it here, which is currency and the price. And now if I click here, this will change the name here. And also if I click on change type 1, you will see the name also applied here. So you can also do it here. If I click on the table and go to advanced editor, this will open up a window. This is actually a M language where you can modify here itself the things, what you want to do it over there. But make sure you are changing in the right manner because you are directly affecting the code, for example, here. So if there is any mistake, then everything will collapse here. So that's the reason you need to make sure you are making changes perfectly. All right, so this is the one which we did here. I think we are good for this. And then right click here, move to group and model. Okay, the next thing here, so we can just rename this here to be just product. We don't need the product table. If you want to rename it perfectly in a kind of star schema model, so it has to be div product and the sales has to be fact sales. Okay, so now the next we have it here, the geography. So here the geography, we don't need the first two rows, and the third one has to be the header actually. So for this, we can just use the home tab, and then here we have a remove rows and remove rows top, and then you need to define it here how many rows you want to remove. I want to remove the top 2 rows, and then click on OK. So this will add a new step, and you can see the 2 rows has been removed. And now we want to use the first row to be the header. So clicking on this small arrow here, this will give a list of options where you need to select here the use first row as header. If you click here, then this will open up, this will switch the first row to the header part of this one, and this will assign the change column data type here. On the right side, you see we have removed the top rows, and then we have promoted the headers, and then it is changes the data type here. So this is basically the zip is 123, and city is fine, and state is also fine, and this is the region, and this is the district and country here. Yeah, I think looks good everything, and we need to rename this here to be dim geography, and then we right click here, move to group and model. All right, and the next one which we have it here, the manufacturer. This is a little bit tricky, so let's rename this here dim manufacturer. All right, so now you see this has every information is available on the column side, not on the rows basically. So one supplier here, the manufacturer is Abbas and Ali Q and Barba, everything is on this way. So we need to transpose this option. If you're coming from Excel background, then you might be aware about the transpose option. So you need to select this one and go to transform tab, and here we have convert to list, we have option to transpose. On the top we have a transpose. So right click here, just click on this one. This will go into this will actually convert the rows into columns and columns into rows kind of thing. So you see it has taken up manufacturer ID, manufacturer, and the logo. These 3 columns here. Other columns we don't need here actually. So now what we can do, we can just select these 3 columns now, 1, 2, and 3, and right click here, and then we need to use remove other columns. So click here, this is going to remove all the other columns. And the next thing you can do it here, click on this small arrow, use first row as header, because we want to switch the first row to be the header. So click here, then this will detect the data type automatically, which is the ID here, name, and this also name. Even though this is a link here, we can make the changes on Power BI desktop, but not in Power Query. And so this has to be IBC itself, text itself. And now right click here, move to a group and model. Cool. So now we have a perfect thing, which is a swag sales, dim manufacturer, dim geography, and dim product. We just need all this information, and then home, and then now click on close and apply. So now only after applying all this transformation, it is actually loading it into Power BI desktop. So we have used here. So while this is loading, I'll just recap the thing what I did. So we used here to get the data. We can get the data from Excel, from CSV, from folder. We use these 3 options. And the next thing here, what we did actually, we use the transformation things. We can use first row as a header. We have used how to remove the rows, how to keep the rows, and also how to remove the top rows for that. And also we use the transpose option to convert this option. And we also use the append. We also learned about the enable load and including report refresh kind of thing. And also we have seen about the advanced editor where we can make our code changes inside to this one. There are still a lot of things which is there to cover in Power BI. In Power Query itself, because it's really big. If I want to cover, then it will take hours and hours together to do that. So that's why I recommend you to watch the first initial video, because there is not much overall change in Power Query as of now. Maybe it will come in future, like we have it in Power BI data flow. If you're adding a new custom column, then there only we can define the data type. But actually, in recent update of Power BI desktop, what we have, it is not available. We have to make another step to change the data type of the newly added column. So these are all things which will come up in future, but not is available as of now. When it is come, then I will try to make a separate videos on those topics so that you can also get aware of that. But for now, I recommend you to watch my Power Query playlist, which contains multiple videos, and as well as I recommend you to watch my one more video, which is almost like 3 hours long, of Power BI, so that you can also get aware of the functionality inside what we have for Power BI Power Query. I think it is loading up almost done, which is 106 MB now right now. So while this is loading, let's have a look into our existing file, what I have, and other functionalities. We'll discuss a little bit about that. So this is basically the training file what I have it here. We can create these kind of files where we have the market analysis about everything, how the sales is going on, and what are the segment it is, what is the category of the year. We are going to use some of the visuals and also about the slicers and also about the theme and background for these things, because these are all the important factors. If you see, this is looks like a little bit high quality reports, and it will be easy for the users to understand about the data. And also by manufacturer, we have how the performance of the manufacturer by year. And because we have selected here multiple year, that's why it is showing up here. If I erase this eraser on the slicer, then you can see our the performance, how it goes further year by year here. And also, if I look into the new things, which is here, the main two things which I want to discuss here is basically the new card visuals and as well as the new slicer visuals. How beautiful it is, how limitations. So the thing here, which I'm actually making up the video series of this, nowadays with the advanced technology which is going up here, the limitation is only on our thought, I can say, because things are moving fast and we need to learn things, and also we need to apply those things based on our knowledge. So right now it has started for Australia, and we just need to wait for a few more seconds so that it can also combine all the other dimensions here. It is now Canada. So next thing we have Germany, Japan, Mexico, and Nigeria. So while this is loading also, so what is the useful feature which you have used recently in Power BI? And let me know in the comment section below. And we can also explore that feature as well. And what helped you the most? I mean, which feature actually make a wow for you? For me, the recent update, I can say this thing, the card visuals and the new slicer is really beautiful. Actually, you can see the functionality of the new slicer. It doesn't look like a slicer itself. It's really beautiful. Look how we can customize that, and it also supports the tooltip. That is also really beautiful. It means we can use the slicer. It has a little bit of space, and we can also show the information of that particular supplier or user kind of thing. We can also add an employee image to this one, and we can also show the performance. How beautiful it is, right? It's just our thinking limitation. And here also you can see the card visuals where it contains the quantity. For example, you can also add an image for this. And here we have a mention about top segment in Japan, and also the lowest segment is used. So these are the quick short information so that the management can easily take a call based on this information. And here if I select, for example, anyone here, for example 2019, then this will compare the sales between the previous year is 30.72 and now this is 32. It is actually growing up by 5.67 percentage. That's how cool it is. And we want to show the filter information here. So what is the filter of the slicer, which is Japan? And if you want to convert into Canada, for example, we can show it here. And also you can see this all the information which is changing it here dynamically. To select Germany, then it's also showing up here. And if you want to filter it by some other vendor like Van Andersel, if I click here, then this is going to filter based on that value. That's how cool. If you look here, the Germany, which is showing up here overall, 0.3% increase from last year's sale, and top segment is convenience is all season lowest one. And if I click on particular supplier like Van Andersel, then it changes here. The top is moderation and the lowest is regular, and the sales has gone down for this particular manufacturer on Germany. So these are the quick short information where we can analyze, right? So these are a useful information where you can utilize this functionality. And let's have a look here. So it has given an error here for the dim geography, and two of the loaded queries contains error, which is the fact sales and dim geography. So we'll see what is the error here. If I click on view error, it is actually good during the training or this kind of video session. If we got an error, it's really helpful. So that, because if we go through a smooth manner, then majority of them we will not get this kind of smooth issues. Without any issues, we are not going to do any kind of real project. So it is really helpful. If I open up here the Power Query, you see it has added a new folder here where you can see error in geography, error in fact sales here. What is error? The zip. Okay, so if I click on this one, on this particular cell, then this should load the information. If it is not, then just click here. I think the zip column is not a text one. It is, I mean, it's not a number, it's a text one. So that's why it is showing up error. So if it is a text column and if it contains number, then it will not throw an error. But if it is a number column and if it contains text or date, then it will throw an error for you. So that's maybe the reason for this. So here you see we couldn't convert to number. That's the error here. And the zip code is T0A. That's number one. That's the problem here. So this is actually, you can see automatic taken here to enable load to be false. Now what we need to do here, go to Gym Geography and the chain data type which it has taken on the first step. Click here and here it has taken the zip, not here, the last one itself, because that normally we have promoted to the headers. And here you can see it has taken the city as text and the district as text and zip here to be integer 64. So instead of that, we just need to copy and paste what we have it here. We can just go to advanced editor here and then zoom in. So here for this one, I'll just copy the thing which is type text and paste it here. Instead of this, we just need to paste this option, type text. That's it, and click on done. Okay, now you see it has taken it to ABC. And if I click on dim geography and also remove this one, I mean, just keep the error information what we have generated by Power Query. This will load and then this should be blank now because there is no error. The only error what we had is the zip error. So while this is loading, let's have a look into the sales. So for the sales, actually, we have appended two columns, right? So we need to go to US sales now and also here change the data type to be text. For the zip one, here it is the one, type text and done. And also for, let's load this first. Yeah, ABC and international sale, click on advanced editor. And here this has to be the same thing, done. ABC is done. So now if I click on dim geography here, we see it is error is gone. I mean, no error found here. And also on the fact sales error, definitely is the same error. If it is something else, then it will show up here. So it has automatically detected this error and it has added a new table, how this has worked. And that's the advantage of Power Query. And if I look into advanced editor here, so what it has taken. So it has taken from the fact sales, that's the source, and detected type mismatch, data type mismatch. So it has taken up every column and found that there was a mismatch on this one, and that is what is showing up here. These are all the automatic generated from Power Query. That's how smart enough it is. I think this will work fine. So we can just click on close and apply. Now this will load again the two tables. So we have used the get the data and then we have used this transformation jobs. Now the pending thing here is the relationship, date, DAX, and visuals with conditional formatting. All right. So this will take some time. So we'll wait for this. All right. Now all the rows has been added here with no errors. Now the next thing here, we need to work on the relationship. So getting the data as an import mode that's necessary and transforming the things which is as per our requirement that is also required. And the next thing here is important thing which is the relationship. Without having a proper relationship between the tables, it is not possible for us to get the right data. Because building a star schema is a really good approach. And majority of my experience so far, I can say it is really hard to build a star schema. Because of the complexity of the reports, we ended up building a snowflake itself. And here also you can see it is now right now looks like a snowflake because the dimension is connected to another dimension here. All right, so we have a gym geography and the country, we need to map it here, these two things. It is showing up here as a many-to-many relationship here and the cross filter to be this one because we have multiple countries showing up here. Instead of that, what we need to do now? So to avoid this, we need to create one more column with the zip and country. We can create a custom column in Power Query. You can also create a custom column in DAX actually. DAX is a kind of another language, but we have it here in Power BI, which is available on Power BI Desktop. And Power Query is basically M language, which is available in Power Query. So we have seen how you can create a custom column in Power Query. Now we'll create another column here in Power BI Desktop. So now you may think about what is the difference between these two, right? So basically, creating a custom column in Power Query is it will refresh the data and then it will do the job during the refresh time. And here in Power BI Desktop, after loading the data into desktop, it will calculate those columns. So that's the difference between these two. And now we need to open up this dim geography and select this table. So if you click on this table view, now expand this data and select the column here, for example, then this will load all the data here. If you want to filter something, then it will not have any impact on the real data for you. So we need to create a new column where on the top you have a column tools, and here you need to select new column. So once you click on that, you need to have a two column, which is country zip. I'm going to merge these two column, country and zip code. Country zip. So is equal to country from gym geography, and I will add and symbol here, or also we can add concatenate, but I'd like to use here and symbol, double quote, dash, double quote, and symbol, and then zip here. And click on commit. Now you should see it should bring up the value of a column which combine the country and the zip code. Yeah, this is how it will look like. Similar column we need to create on the dim sales as well. So let's go to the dim sales and click anywhere on the country, and then on the column tools, click new. And here also we need to give the name as country zip. Country zip equal to, and if I type here country, then you see the table name has coming up here. The first name is the table name, and then square bracket the column name, and double quote dash double quote and symbol, and then we have a zip here, and click on commit. We can create many-to-many relationship in Power BI, but this will create a little bit for. I'm not actually what to say. The first preference I will go to this one because we need to do cross filter direction, and if we are going to apply the row level security, we have to apply on both the direction. That's not a kind of recommended, which in my point of view. So that's why I created this column, and now we can use these two columns for the relationship here. Dim geography and fact cell. And this will now create a one-to-many. You can see similarly here it is one. So every row has a unique one. So it is one. And the direction is going up through this direction. And now this is showing up here as many, which is one-to-many. This fact cell contains multiple country and zip. Similarly here for the dim product as well as dim manufacturer. Now the main thing which is pending here is the date table, because every report we need a date, and the report it is good to create it from the backend source, because the reason is every company will have a different financial period. In most of the US companies it starts from July, not from January, and here in India it starts from April, the financial period. So it changes. So also we have a different calculation period. Some of the project which I work is actually contains the week start from Thursday. So that's really strange, but that's how they work. Actually the company work. In that case, we need to get that calendar from the source itself and then bring up here in Power BI Desktop. If it is not there, then we can create in Power Query. We have lots of videos on that. We can just make sure to watch that. But here I'm going to show you here in the DAX. So to do that, just click on the table view again. And then on the top, you see we have a table tools and new table. I'd like to give it a name, which is dim date equal to. So here we need to use the calendar function. We can use calendar auto, or we can use the calendar also, no issues with that. And here we need to pass the start date and end date. Start date, actually, I'd like to use the date function where we can specify manually also, that's fine. But here I would like to mention 2013, 01, and 1. And end date is date 2022, 1, 1. Sorry, it has to be 12 and 31. End of 2022. Close this one and then hit enter. So this will create a new table, and with all the continuous date here. So it starts from January 1st, 2013, and it's going to end till 2022. If I start this by descending, now see it is 21, 31, 12, 2022. That's how it is. Beautiful. So now we need to add two more columns, which is a month and as well as a year. So you can just click here and then the new column, the same way how it can be done. And this has to be month, and you can give it here as a month and then date, which is coming from dim date here. We can pick it from here and click on enter. Actually, this has to be month number, but that's totally fine. And we also need to create another column, which is year. But actually, we also need a month name. So we'll create a month name now. We need to use the format option, which is the date column, because month name is actually not available. So you can just need to name here as format this and hit enter. So now this format DAX actually convert the DAX into our desired format. So I'm now taking just MMM. It will understand we just need a month here in 3-digit. So now you see it is showing up here in 3-digit the month name. It's how beautiful it is. Now again clicking on the column tools here, new column to create year from this. So selecting this here and year is equal to year. That's a function. And we need to pass here the date column, which is showing up here. Hit enter and commit. It has taken automatically here also. And also every column you see it is showing up the data type here of each and every column. This is a text now and this is a number. And here it is date and time. We don't need date and time here. So it is good to just keep the date only. So select here and only date here. And there are lots of functions which we have in DAX or DAX formulas, where the time intelligence formula, which is like same period last year, previous year kind of calculations, you need to have a date table. And also that table has to be marked as a date table. So you need to click on that date table. And then if you click on table tools from the top ribbon, here you have option mark as a date table and then mark as a date table. So we need to specify that. So once you specify that, it will ask you to select the column, which is this one. And this will check actually validate the column if it is has continuous dates inside to that. If the Saturday, Sundays are missing, then this will not pick up that. It has to be continuous date column. So it has taken validated successfully and now click on OK. So now this will convert into a date table. If you see the icon will change here a little bit and also it has gone. This one, yeah, you see this has got changed icon of the arrow. I mean the hierarchy it has removed from this one. And also the icon is changed to this one, which is marked as a date table. All right, so let's go to the transformation and we need to add the relationship here. So this date has to map with this date here. So drag and drop to here. Cool. So we have now worked on the relationship here. Everything looks good. And also we added the date table here. This is also fine. Now we need to add a relationship for this, which is the DAX measure. So the DAX measure we can create on a separate table that will be easy to manage things. So to create a dummy table, just click on Home tab in Power BI Desktop Report View and then hit Enter Data. Select this one. This will open up this one and you can give it a name here, measure table, and then load. So we'll keep all the measures inside to this table itself. This is a blank table. This will not contain any data here. All right, I want to create a sum of units and sum of revenue two measures. So clicking on this small arrow, if you right click, I mean the three dot icon, you see option new measure, click here. It has to be sales sum, total sales, and this has to be sum of, which is actually the function revenue. That's a column name available on the fact sales. And also we have option in the format where we can specify the format for each and every measure. So now you may think about what is the difference between like calculate column and a measure. So basically, if I look back here in the data view and the column which we created here at the fact sales, you see we can able to see the data here on this column, which is showing up here. This actually show the data as well as it occupies the space on the memory of this Power BI desktop file. Whereas the measure, you can see it here, we are not able to see any information about the measure except the calculation here. Because measure is lightweight and it's not going to store any data on the data model. But actually, whenever we are going to use in any of the visuals, then only it will calculate and specify the space. The rest of the time, it do not have any space for this. Similarly, if I go to the data table again, and here you can see we have added the total sales here. And also we have I symbol here. If I click on this one, this is going to hide the columns here. So if you don't want the column to be visible for the end user, then you can just click on that arrow. I mean the I symbol to be crossed, then it will remove that. I mean to hide that column for the user. Similarly, now we need to create another measure. Click here and new measure. This has to be total units. And it has to be sum of units. All right. So we have added two measures now, and I'll see what are the other measures, and we'll see what are the other measures which we need to create here. Okay, so this is fine for now, and now we'll move to further steps for the tax thing a little bit later. And before to this, we'll just add the visualization part where we are going to add some visuals here. Now, before moving further, I would like to show you there's some information here with the recent changes here on the Power BI desktop. So here we have a filter pane, and then we have a visualization pane, and then the data pane. This was the previously default one, and every visual will have some formatting. So here is the one format option. If you click on this one, it will add up here. Right now we have not added any visuals, so it is showing up here the page information, page format, and then we have a performance analyzer. If I click on the plus sign, we have multiple options where we can also add things here like bookmarks, selection, and sync slices. The options we can use. I have made separate videos on the bookmark selection pane and sync slicer. You can also please go and check out that videos here. And now this is fine. We have added this visual. So let's add some visuals here. For example, if I add this map visual and I want to add the total sales by country. So you can use the country here, total sales. It is added here on the bubble size of the map. And I'd like to add here the country. So it added under the location here. If you have a latitude and longitude, you can also use it here. And now this is showing up here. This is not enable. The reason is because in my organization it is not enabled, so I'm switching it into my another organization. We'll see if that works or not. Actually, the tenant administrator of Power BI has to enable this functionality in order to work on the map feature. Yeah, I signed out completely. Now it's showing up the information here. Now we can see the bubbles here in North America and Australia, it's large, and other areas also it is showing up here. That's cool. And next thing we can use here is sales by manufacturer groups. Okay, so here we have a sales by manufacturer where we have used only the sales column and year and manufacturer. Okay, so we can use this chart, which is basically the line chart, because usually the trend we used to follow the line. And here also I need to call total sales. And next we need to add here the year from the dim calendar. And we also need to add the manufacturer. So click here and manufacturer. This will add automatically the fields wherever it needs to be. But if you want to make the changes, then you can also make the changes here. So right now you see it has added a line chart where the manufacturer is on this area, which is the legend, and x-axis on the year and showing of the sales here. That's how cool it is. Now, if you want to group the things, the manufacturer into some category, then that is also you can do that possibly. And let me just refer to the old one. Okay, so it has taken up like this. Aliq, Currus, and Natura Prim is the top companies. And Van Arsdale is a separate company, and others are others. So to do that one, basically, let me take the screenshot of this. Cancel. So let's go back to our file. So we need to click on the manufacturer table, and then in the three dot icon, we have option at the bottom, which is create. No. So we need to actually select the particular column, and then we need to click here to new group option. So we click here, it will open up a new window where we have option to list or by bins. If it is a text column, this will be a list. If it is a number column, then it will also give option for bins here. How we want to split the bin? We want to split the bin by 100, 100, 100 or 1000, 1000, 1000 kind of thing. So that's the advantage of that. Here I am just want to specify the suppliers where I used here this drag and drop to this one or click on this group here. Aliq and Chris. I think we also had this one. And let me check the name. Aliq Natura. Okay, we need to use the Natura here. If I using it one by one, you see it is actually adding one by one group here. So we don't need to do that. Just ungroup here everything for now. I will just show you how to do that as a bunch here. So select this one Aliq and then control the name. Select the name and then click on group. And here it has taken everything. Now double click here. Just rename it here to be top companies. And Van Arsdale has to be separate. Click separate. And at the right side, you have option include other group. So we click on that. Whatever it is not selected here, it will come under others. That's it. Click on OK. So right now you see the line graph is too much cluttered here. And instead of using this as a legend, if I click cancel and then add the manufacturer group, a new column is added here. You can just drag and drop into the legend area. Yeah, and now you see the graph looks much clearer. And this is others, which is on the light blue, and top companies is dark blue, and Van Arsdale is the orange one. That's how beautiful it looks like. You can just realign this onto the right side. Okay. This looks a little bit plain, and we need to add some background stuff in order to appeal these eye-catching visuals. All right, we have these two visuals now. The next thing here, we need to add sales by segment. Okay, this is a sales and by segment. We need to use this chart, and then we need to apply the sales, which is coming from total sales. And segment, we have it on the prim product table, which is the segment. Yeah, if I go back here to this product table in my previous file, we have a column here as a segment. Okay, but in our new file, it is not actually available. If I go here and in the product, if I look the name, yeah, this is actually the Natura, and then we have it here inside the name itself. So let's go back to Power Query. So how we can go directly, you can click on the home and then the transform data, or also we can just click on the right click, three dot icon on that particular table and click on edit query. So this will actually open a Power Query editor and it will directly go to that particular table. So that's an advantage for that. You see it has taken up here. So now here basically we need to split this column by this pipe here. Actually, that's the pipe here. So right click on this one and then split column by delimiter. Mostly you should take that value, but let's see. Custom it has taken hyphen, but actually we need to use the pipe symbol here, which is this one. And click on OK. So it has automatically converted the column type. So let's go back to advanced editor now. And here instead of product one, we just keep a product and this has to be segment. Similarly, we need to rename it in two places, product, and this has to be segment. All right. So now let's zoom out and click on done. You should see two different name now, product and segment. Beautiful. Now just click on close and apply. This will add the separate columns here on this one. Product and segment we have. Just save this file for now. Already it has been 1 hour now since I saved this file. Okay, so let's go back to the visuals, and now we can just use the segment column to show the value based on segment. That's good. So you see everything is showing up here without any values. So on the format option of this visual, if I go to the view tab here on PowerPoint desktop, here we have a pane switcher. So the pane switcher always show pane switcher and always open a new pane in a new pane and move build a visual to pane switcher. So this is basically the option which it has. If it is all ticked, then this will everything look like the old itself. If you're already using a PowerPoint desktop, then the new update has created lots of confusion. So this option really helps a lot to maintain the old stuff that it will be visible every time. All this thing. If you want to minimize that, you can just click on this arrow. This is going to minimize that. So we actually like this kind of itself. Personally, I also like this approach. So I just want to have these things separately itself while developing on this functionality. So selecting these visuals and enable data labels. And also we can just check here the values. This has to be display unit to be in millions. Similarly, we also need to go here. This one, enable data labels. And then display unit to be millions. That's it. Okay, what next here we have on this report? It's a scatter chart, sales by category and year. Okay, so we need to add a scattered chart, which is another chart here on this part. And here also we need to add total sales by year and by category. So here we need to just move here into the play axis. So this will play our axis and the category has to go under the values. In the legend itself, okay, let's keep this as a legend. And now this will see the axis it is showing up as a play. If I play here, then this will move based on the year. It is the year is changing, keep on. So you can see the categories which is moving up here and there. So that's a new visual. So save this file. The next thing here we need to do is to add the slices onto the left side. We need a category, product, year, and country filter. So this is a new slicer. We can just use the regular slicer itself. For now, I will also show you the new slicer later on. So here on the format, we need to add year, and in the slicer setting, it has to be drop down. Drop down is a good options we can use. Just copy Control C and Control V in the bottom, and we need to add here the manufacturer. The same way, just copy and paste. And we also need to add the category, copy and paste. And we need to add country, which is coming from the geography. All right. How beautiful it is. So now if I click here, then we see similar small companies. If I click on category, we have small manufacturer. It is more this one. So in order to enable the search option, just click on the three dot icon and click on search. And we'll see a search button here. You can just type here name to filter the data. That's how cool it is. All right, we have these things, and now this looks pale. I mean, not a good look and feel. So to do that, we need to now apply the theme and background and logos to this one. So the theme is basically available on the view tab, and you can see these are all the themes which we have. You can select any theme from this one where it contains changing the values here. But if you have a customized theme for you, then you can just click here and then save the current theme and then customize it for yourself. And if you already have in your organization, just click on browse for theme, and then you need to select the theme for you. Now this will apply the theme for you, and everything will change accordingly. Custom report is already in use. I got it. So the theme is added for us. Is it or not? Clicking here and the theme gallery. Sorry, rows for theme. Select the theme here. Open. Okay, the file successfully added and it's now ready to use. Now see the color has a little bit modified here. And next thing here, click on any blank space. And here you see the page information, canvas setting and canvas background. Select here to add an image here for the canvas. So we have a background image for the canvas and click on open. And we need to set this to be fill and also the transparency to be 0. So it has filled the information here. And we just now need to realign the things based on the background to improve the look and feel overall of this clipboard. And here we need to resize this. All right, now you see it looks a little bit different here. So another thing we need to add here is the background, the logo. So insert here and we have image. Just realign this here. Okay, so now click on and this one. Let's give it a name as market analysis. And here this has to be, we can just select here and on the right side we have a size and style and just remove the background. So we have this market analysis here and let's keep the same here. Okay, so we need to add one other information where what is the last data saved here. So to do this, we need to add some measure here, which is added here on this one. Or also we can just create it from the existing sales table. So for this, I need to add, where is the view here? This is a new file and I'm not able to see this information about the visuals. Bookmark, selection, performance, build a visual. Okay. Select this one. And let's add a card here. I would like to add the old card itself. That should be fine. And then drag and drop the date from the sales table. And change this to be earliest. Instead of earliest, I need this to be latest. And in the format of this one, let's rename this to be 12. And this has to be the latest date. And instead of that, just change the background to be none. And the font of this to be white. Just make a little bit changes here. And this has to be the category label also to be white. And change this to be latest date. Yeah, that's it. I think this is good enough to make the changes. Yeah, it is wrapped here, but it is not wrapping up the thing. All right, so this is the one which we need. So we have it here December 31st for this column. So if I select this column and here you see it is showing up format. The format we need to change it here. If I change this to be like this, and this will also change the value on this card itself. Cool. So we have logo, market, everything here. This looks pretty good. All right. So what else we need? So we need to create another page. This is just the market share. So that we need to create another page here, which actually contains other information by manufacturer. And I will also show you the slicer settings at the end of this one. And for this, let's duplicate this page. We can right click on the page name and click on duplicate. And here we just remove select, drag and drop here and remove only these visuals by deleting the button. So now we have kept everything the same. And this has to be Van der Waals analysis. So just copy and paste the value here, and everything can be the same thing here. All right. And this is a vendor cell, so we need to use filter everything. So what we can do here from the manufacturer, we can use the manufacturer column to be filter on this page in the filter pane. This will act as a filter and just filter this to be vendor cell. All right. Now we need to add few things, which is sales and growth percentage by year and sales by country. So we'll just use this one, which is simple one, which is sales by country. And I'd like to add a visual, which is the same thing. Why it is going up again? If I go to the view tab, always move build to the wishes panel. Okay, so we need to keep this here. If I click on a new visual here and then use the total sales and also by country, right? Yeah, by country. So it has to be from gym geography. So just bring it here at the bottom of this one. Now you see, we also don't need to go for this to be on the format pane to change the values. You can just double click here on every visual. For example, you see, if I select the visual, then it is showing up in a rounded, in a gray color one. If I double click here on the heading, then it is now changing to the square at the end, and it line is changed to blue here. It means it will enable the edit mode. We can directly change the value here. Total sales by country, whatever you want to change here. And also if I click on this option, and we can also edit the values on here, the country and also total sales. If you want to just make it to be sales here, you can just rename here to be sales. That's it. It will change directly how we used to do it here in Excel or PowerPoint. It's the same functionality we have it here. So here also, if you want to add any visuals, then you can also add the formatting of everything here. You can just click on this plus icon and you want to enable data label, you can just click here. This will enable data label. This other short information is available, but if you want to do a lot more changes, then you need to click on more options. This will open up the format pane where you can enable the control things here. So this has to be value and this has to be unit in millions. This is a new advantage on the new visuals pane, feature pane. I also like this option because we can do most of our work inside to this place itself. We don't want to go to the format area. Okay, so next thing we'll work on some slices. So previous year and this year sales. So for this, what we need to do here is we need to work on the sales and then previous year sales and also the difference between these two things. So here we have a total sales. We need to add another measure basically, which is total sales previous year. So selecting this here and then new measure. Total sales PY. And here we need to use the queen of DAX function, which is calculate, because we can do a lot of things inside to this one. You can refer to my DAX videos where I used most of the calculation using this calculate itself. So calculate, and then we need to use the sales, which is total sales. That's expression and how you want to filter. I want to filter this to be previous year. So you need to use the same period last year. That's the functionality, the function, and you need to pass the date table, which is the date here. Close the bracket and also close the bracket and hit enter. So now this is going to calculate the same period. Like if I filter for 2021, this will give the value of 2020 for this. So we need to add from visuals on this one, which is year, sales, and growth percentage. And we'll do one by one. So we'd like to add a visual here. This is again going on here. Okay, so if I add is here, this one, which is a line and column chart, I'd like to add it here on this page. Okay, so here this has to be year at the x-axis, total sales to be on the bar, which is showing up here, keep on increasing. And if I click also on previous year, this will add another thing here. And you can see this is actually, if I enable the data label, which is showing up on this one. Again, this is showing up here in billions. So no need to worry about that. Just change this to million. Okay. Data label, and this has to be horizontal. Apply settings to all things. Yeah. All right. So because of size, I think this is not showing up here. Let me just round off the label value. This has to be all settings, and the value has to be displayed to be in millions, and decimal value to be 0 here. All right. So now it is showing up everything. So this 91 million is for 2015, and 110 is for 2014. Sorry, the 91 is for 2014, which is coming from here, and 110 is for 2015, and it is now moving into 2016 here in the light color. So light color is the previous year, and dark color is the current year. So everything is perfectly working here. And now we need to make the difference between these two. So for this, we need to make another DAX calculation. So clicking here on the new DAX measure, we need to use here as a growth percentage. It can be in positive or it can be negative. But as per the things which we are seeing on the data here, everything looks positive. But we'll see. So here I would like to give it a name as growth percentage, and this has to be, we need to use the divide function. What is the divide? The divide has to be sales of this one minus sales of previous year, and this has to be divided by the previous year, comma 0. If any error, then we can handle it to be 0 here. Select this one, and we also need to format this measure to be percentage, not in number. So after adding this one, this will show the values here, and also it is added here. Here you need to click on this plus sign, I mean the percentage sign. Percentage sign, this will convert the value into percentage and decimal to be 2. That's fine. And here I'd like to add this, instead of showing the previous year value, I just want to add this growth percentage into the line area. Now we see it is showing up here everything in percentage, and now this is showing up in millions, but that is actually not the one, which actually, if I go to the format option, and here it is showing up the value to be top sales. This is right now on this visual, and now showing up the value for this total sales. And here I need to select the growth percentage, and under the value section for the growth percentage, this has to be auto or none, basically. And yeah, now it is showing up perfectly. So this is now showing up the percentage of the every month, every year to year progress of this one. Okay, so you see this x-axis is showing up only the value of range. From skipping on this one, the reason is because of the space. If I remove, I mean close all the things here, then I think it should show all the information for us. Yeah, still it doesn't have any information. So you can just double click on the Excel x-axis, and then we can just change the format. It's beautiful here. If the format pen, you see it is actually changing, depends on the selection. You see it is now showing up secondary axis, and it is now showing up the y-axis. This is a really amazing thing. I really like this one. So now this is showing up 8, and if I change this to be 9, still it is, we don't have any much space to show the information here. That's totally fine. No issues with that. And you can also vertically align to this one, but for now this is okay. All right, so we have this sales year, last year and current year. Next year, if I double click on this particular country, this is also showing up the value perfect. I really like this feature. So this has to be 0. It really reduced a lot of time here by just keeping these two enable option. All right, the next thing here, we need to use the segment by percentage. This is a little bit kind of advanced level DAX, we can say. So how we can do is we have this segment sales, and this is we don't need here. We have a segment percentage and also the segment by sales. So segment and segment sales is easy actually. We can just add a visual here. On the top also we can add from visual. I would like to add a matrix here, which is added here, and it has to be total sales, and then it has to be by total. We can add it from here, add and data here. This has to be by segment. All right, we have a segment and sales. So now what we need to show here is, if I look back to the old file, the segment is showing up in green, the percentage of each and every segment. So we need to add a segment wise percentage, as well as we need to show them the value here, which is on conditional formatting. So to do that, we need to use segment percentage, which is showing up here. So divide all by segment. So all segment, which is showing up here. So we need to add, I will just go one by one. We need to add a measure now, which is showing up here, all segment. So right now this is showing value by segment. Now we need to create a measure so that it can calculate the value by all segment here. So it means irrespective of any segment, it has to show us the value. So I like to add this here as segment percentage, where I'd like to add calculate and then the sales, which is total sales, comma all segment. So what I'm saying right now is basically whatever filter is there on the segment, just remove those filters and bring everything. That's what I'm saying it here. All means it will just remove all the filter and it will bring all the data for that particular column. So click on commit here. And if I add the same thing here on this particular thing, so DAX actually works on the filter context and row context and also the query context. If I add the segment percentage here, you see it is showing up the same value like 1281, 1281 for everything. Because even though here it actually applies the filter context for this particular sales, but for this it is not, because we use all function, it actually removes that filter, the convenience, and then it is just applying none. So that's why it is showing up every value, the same thing here. Now we need to divide this total sales into this segment. So to do that, we need to use here the divide function. I'm using it the same one itself. So divide this, which is the highest value, right? So actually we need to divide total sales, comma this value, and then comma 0 if any error for this. If I do so, now this will actually filter, divide the 606 divided by 1281, and this will show us the value here. So this is now showing up here 0.47 and 0.10. We need to convert this measure into percentage, select the measure, and on the top, you need to click on the percentage symbol here. So once you click on that, this will convert the value and show us the value in percentage, which is 47, 10, and 41. That's really amazing. Now we need to add a conditional formatting where we need to show the value. If it is more than 30%, then it has to be green. If it is not, it has to be in red, for example. All right. So to do that, conditional formatting, we just need to select the matrix, and then here under the cell element, you need to click here total sales, which is this value. Actually, we need to do it on the segment percentage. We need to select the series from here and then enable this background color to be on. So this will apply a default color for us. We can click here on the column to sort the value. This is showing up here perfectly, but we have a different requirement. So clicking on the FX icon, this will open up a new window where we have multiple options like gradient, which is right now, and the rules are field value. Field value is nothing but we need to define a separate measure and call that measure here. It will apply that logic here. The rules is here, we need to define it here itself. So we need to apply based on the segment percentage. If the value is greater than 1% and it is less than, value is greater than 0, and if it is less than, percentage is showing up here, right? We can also call it here as a number. I'll let you go with number here, number 0 to 0.3, then it has to be red color. I'm just to use this one and add a new rule here. If this is greater than or equal to 0.3, and it has to be by number, and this is more than 2, for example, and then it has to be green. All right, and click on OK now. Now see, both of them are showing up here in green and everything is showing up here in red. So that is the reason for that. If you want to add further more, just click on FX icon again. And if you want to specify that if it is more than 10, then it has to be yellow. If it, this has to be red itself. If it is above 10, then you want to add this to be 0.1 and till 0.3, then it has to be yellow. So just move this a little bit up and click on OK. So now you should see this is now yellow, and this is showing up here is also yellow. This is 0.1, and now this is 0.0. That's why it's showing up here in red color. So this is what it is. That's amazing. So it is too much low, and this is moderate, and this is too high. So that's what we are showing up here. All good so far. So everything looks perfect here based on our previous report. So now let's come to our next chapter, which is I really love the one, which is new card visuals. So I'm into this new file where I used here a new card visual, which is actually coming up here from this new card style, which is new card. So once you click on the card here, so let's add a new page here. I have added a new page here and you just need to add a new card here. And what are the things you want to add? You can add all those information on this page. For example, I want to add total sales and total units, total sales, and the country. If I want, you can just add a country here. That's one which is taken as here first Australia and total sales and total units here. That's how I did here. And you see, it has looks like multi-level row card, but in a different card step here. So we can add multiple KPIs and then realign it here on this one. Not only the story stops here, but actually on the right side, I mean the format when you see it has multiple options. Size, title, shape. We can define this to be a multiple shapes, rounded rectangle. Then this will change automatically here, how beautiful it is. And also we have rounded corners, how you want to round this one. Amazing. Beautiful. So 25, I think that's good enough. And customize we can also make the customization here how we want to round here. You want to round it on the top right, you want to round it on the left side. So what if I just want to left corner to 25? That's it. How beautiful it look like. Yeah, that's amazing. So that's how we can make the changes here, but let it be just on a rectangle and customize to be off. And here the option have to be layout, how we want to specify the layout. On the top, on the center, or on the bottom, that's fine. And the calendar values, this has to be as usual, let it be 20. This is similar to the old one, and the label is also similar to the old one. And here we have a reference label. That is the one which I really like, the reference labels. And here the reference label, basically you can add multiple things here. If I look back to my old file for this particular thing, the reference label which I added it here is basically I selected here the series of thing I use here, quantity, sales, and country. I selected the quantity here. Under the quantity, I just need a top segment and the lowest segment. So these are all basically the top segment, lower segment are all the measures. Even the selected country is also measure. By the way, so it is good actually if you create a measure and use it inside to this one. Don't use directly from the column. I think it's actually not work if you use the direct from the column itself. So you need to create a measures for everything which is showing up here and then use it here. So for this, we need to click on sales and quantity and selected country, which is basically if I select this measure, which is here, selected country value. If nothing is selected, then by default it will show as United States. That is the power of the college. Selected value is nothing but the selected value from this slicer. All right. So three things, and we use the top. What is the top segment and lower segment? So if I click on top segment, what is the measure here? Wow, looks a little bit different, right? How we need to do that? This is really looks complicated, but it is not. How I did is basically I will show you by after this one. So basically, just think about that. I use a measure and to work on this one, and then I use that measure here on this view. But please bear with me till the end of this video because I will show you how I have generated that. So this is the one which I use here at the top segment, and the lower segment also I have another formula. I use the same thing and I used it here inside to this one. Lower segment, top segment, and that's the one which I used here in the reference label for this selected series. And I just customize here the labels to be shown, the value to be shown on the bold here. That's it. That is how it is looks like here. So beautiful. And similarly, if I select here for the sales, I use another thing, which is previous year sale, which is showing up here on the previous year sale. And also you can see it is showing up here the percentage to be greater than 0. And you can see the value, which is showing up on the previous year sales. If I select this one, now you see the calculation sales and the same period last year is showing up here on the previous year sale. So now you may think about we have this value previous year and how you got this value as 0.3% higher. So basically in the reference table, in the reference label, we have a section about detail here. That's further going in level deep here. So if I select the sales, it's actually added the sales reference, which is has to show actually detail is turned off. And in the sales section, if I click here, and this is the detail section. Okay, right now this is showing as to be disabled. The reason is because even though I selected here this as a sales, it is not showing up here. Yeah, actually it has to change the value accordingly. Okay, so this is the reason why it is not showing up here. Even though I selected here the series to be sales and showing up here, but the select label where you want to apply that. So I want to apply this on the previous year. If I click on this one, then the detail section is enabled here. And if I expand the detail section, now you see the growth percentage card, which is added here. So it is actually applying to this one. For example, if I want to apply the top segment on this one, I need to change here the quantity first. And in the select label, I need to select the top segment. And then only this will give me option to make the changes on this. So I need to enable this. I can add any of the thing. For example, if I want to add a segment percentage, I can also add that value here. So this is how the formatting is not properly done. So that's why it is showing up here 1. If I select this, and then you see the display unit which is showing up here. This I would like to be none, and the decimal I would like to add this to be 0.2. Now it is showing up here as 1. So even though this is not showing a perfect 1, the calculation is not applying to this one, but that's totally fine. I'm just showing you how to do that one. Similarly, I did it here for this sales, and the sales for this particular thing, if I select this to be sales, and previous year sales, the series label. So I used here as a font color, right? And then use the effects icon. If I click on the font color on the effects icon, this will again open up the conditional formatting option. I use this option for this. If value is greater than 0 and less than 10, green. If it is minus 10 and till 0, it is red color. Similarly, I did for the colors of the background as well. So that's why it is showing up here in green with that arrow. That's how beautiful it is. I added a separate growth card here. That's the measure which I use inside to this area. And in here, I used here concatenate function with this percentage, and also use this growth function greater than 0, then use up arrow. If it is less than 0, then use the down arrow. So this is the reason it is showing up here in up arrow for this one. That's how the trick it does. So creating a separate measure for each and every requirement, we can just beautify the things here, how we need to do. Here I use the concatenate function, the format function, the percentage as well, and also use the if condition for this. So this is also a beautiful thing. I can also use the rounded rectangle for this. We can also add images to here. So that's what I added here at the images here, series by series, selecting on this particular quantity, and here selecting an image which is showing up here nothing. And if I browse here and add any label here, for example, let me take down on the desktop my image here, which is showing up now on my image. That's beautiful it is. So how we want to fit here, we can realign this one. And also similar I did for these two things for this. And here we have a card. We can apply the quantity, how we want to apply the background for that card. So I'd like to add the quantities. It is not enabling here. This is for the overall card here. So I don't want to make any changes to this. I just want to make the changes on the shape actually around the rectangle. Yeah, now it is showing up perfect. So let this be 10 round. This looks pretty good. So now we have all the values here. So now let's move on to the next one, which is the slicer. So slicer is nothing but we use this here as a regular slicer, not the new slicer. Here also we have the same similar thing, which is we have the shape, we use the rounded rectangle, and this have use the bottom right corner to be 10%. So that's why it is showing up here. And then we used here other things, which is layout, which is the same thing, which I want this to be 4 and 4, which is showing up here, and the pixel to be 8. the layout, and then we have a calculate values. So here I just use the manufacturer. That's what it is showing up here. Apart from that, I have multiple informations here. So one is calculate value, which is showing up here by default, and the label here, which is showing up here. We need to drag and drop the field. I just use here as quantity. So what we want to show here, we can also show those information here. For example, if I cancel this one and use the growth percentage card here, it is just showing up here as every supplier, what is the growth percentage. That's beautiful, amazing, right? Every year for this, and it's also showing up the drop down here as well. You can also make the customization of the color. Unfortunately, it is not here, but still you can show the up and down arrow here. That's beautiful. And that is what it is actually added here. And the manufacturer is showing up here, the name here. The next thing here, we have the image of that one, which is images here. We can take the field from the column. But in the slicer, it is, I mean, in the card, it is not actually available to take it from the field value. But here we have option to drag and drop from the field value. That is what I did here actually. The location, the manufacturer column which we have here, if you see the logo, actually we have on this one, we need to go to column tools on the table, and then we need to convert this into image URL. So that is what we need to do. Main thing, generally it will convert this into image. But still I used here, like I said before, we don't need to use, we should not have to use that from the column. We have to create a separate measure for this. So I created a separate measure, which is logo URL, which is here logo URL, maximum of manufacturer logo. Anyway, every selection it will be a maximum itself. So that's what it is showing up here as a field value to be image URL and showing up here the image logo here. How beautiful it is. And then next what we have here, the layout. I think there is one thing which is here the top line, which I can see it on the slicer shape itself. Bottom left, right, left, it is showing up the shape here. And how about the size and style? Is it also not the borders? Yeah, in the buttons option, what we have here, we use this option to fill, and the fill I just use here light gray and transparency options. We can also set up a background for this. And here on the top, we have option about the border. So the border only I used here, this has to be 1 pixel, and this is the one how it is filled here. And the bar which is set up here to be the, which is showing up here in the top, which is the ascent bar, and which is how it is showing my width equal to 5. That is how it is looks like a little bit dark shade on this one. So this is what the use of this slicer, new slicer, and a new card which was for this. And now let's come to our last topic, which is how I did for this one. This actually, you click here on this card, actually on the property, you just need to enable the tooltip options. So I already added a tooltip, and that is what it is showing up here by default. So in the tooltip, we need to use the select of the page. That is how the usual tooltip works. Similar thing, we need to use it here. That's how it is working now. All right, this is cool. So next thing here, we need to use by this tax query view. So how I did that. So basically what I actually did here, I have anyway used this matrix visual. And then what I did here on the filter pane, I used here this to be sorted by the segment sales, I mean the sales here. And then the sales to be filtered here. This has to be not on the sales basically. I just clicked on the segment area, and instead of basic filtering, I just use here top n, and in the top I used here to be 1, and here I have to use the value. The value I use this sales measure to be drag and drop under the value section here. So by doing that and clicking on apply, this matrix, it will just show me only one top value. That's how beautiful it is. Now what I did here, I just enabled this in the view tab, or also on the right side, we have the performance analyzer. Clicked here, and then I started recording here. Once I click on that, I'll see this option, just click on analyze in Excel. It has taken up this visual and load the information about this one. So now we have a copy query or run in DAX query view. I just click on run in DAX query view. This is a new query view. This actually creates a DAX query, how this will work. And then this will give us the information here. This is how the result will look like. And while studying this one, what it actually generated, it has taken a filter to be 2019 and filter to be Germany, and it has taken a top companies to be Vandersdale, and then it has taken this to be everything on the summarized column. And after that, it has taken top one, and also use the summarized column. So I used this one and then modified a little bit here to show me as per my need, which is top segment. If I click on this measure, top segment, if I go back here to the report view and then click on the top segment, you see this will look similar to this one, but actually I don't need to use the year and company filter because that's going to apply dynamically. So I removed that. I just use this summarize column, product table, and the sales and the measure, which is sales. And also I use it here in the variable. This will be a table now. And from this table, I use here the top n and filter this to be 1. And it has to descending order, the sales. And from this, I need the segment name. So that segment name I have taken it from the maxx function. That's how it actually works. And I have taken this here to be the same variable name here. This is going to return me only one single value, which is the product segment name. And that's what we are going to show here on this visual, which is showing up here as the convenience for this one. And this is going to apply based on our slicer selection automatically. If I select something else, then this is going to apply the same logic here. If I select this to 2020, yeah, now you see it is changing to be moderation. That's how I'm doing. So similarly, I did for the lowest segment. You're clicking on this one. Instead of this is a descending order. So I use here ascending order and top one. Nothing else. No change on this one. So I use this here and now showing up here as regular. So this is the best use of the DAX query analyzer. You can make use of this functionality to learn DAX, how these things work, and you can also customize DAX based on your need, how you want to work on that. And also you can use this kind of to build your report visualization. It actually helps to improve your productivity in building up Power BI reports. I really enjoyed by doing this video and showcasing you about the new functionalities of Power BI Desktop, which is released recently, and also I made a separate project for you. If you really like this video, just hit the big thumbs up button and let me know about what are the cool features which you like the most in the recent updates of Power BI Desktop. And these are the new series which I released on the video, which is for Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, and Notion as well, to help you increase your productivity in 2024. If you like this video, just hit the big thumbs up button. If you're new to this channel or if you haven't subscribed yet, just hit the big subscribe button and also press the bell icon to get the latest notification. But please make sure to subscribe to this channel and share this video with others so that they can also get aware of this one. Thanks for watching. Keep learning. See you in the next video.